They thought it was just another school, a worn-out building at the edge of the village, painted with hopeful colors and packed with promises. Parents smiled, teachers nodded, girls dressed in second-hand uniforms, clutching books and dreams. It was supposed to be their first step into the world, but no one noticed the fence was higher than usual, or that the headmaster never blinked, or that the birds refused to land on the roof. Mariama was 9 when she started at the school. Bright, curious, full of questions. Her mother braided her hair tight each morning, packed a piece of yam, and whispered, "Be brave, little one. Learn well." Mariama tried. She listened. She raised her hand. She made friends. But something felt wrong. The classroom was too cold, even in the heat. The windows wouldn't open. And every week, one girl would stop showing up. No goodbye, no transfer, just silence. The teachers told them not to ask questions. And when Mariama asked where her friend Aisha had gone, the headmaster looked at her with eyes too dark and too deep and said, "She's in a higher class now, one you're not ready for." That night, Mariama dreamt of Aisha. She was screaming behind a door made of chalk and bone, and Mariama knew this was not a school. It was something else. Mariama stopped eating. Every time she opened her lunch, she smelled dust. Old, bitter, wrong. Her mother said it was just nerves. "School is scary at first," she whispered, "but it gets better." It didn't. Every morning, the teachers greeted the girls with 2 wide smiles and hands that never touched. The headmaster's office door was always closed, and from behind it came strange sounds. Not voices, not machines. Something in between, something that throbbed. Then there was the light. It came from the floor beneath the school. Faint at first, just a flicker. But Mariama saw it. Glowing cracks in the tile, pulsing with each bell ring. And every time that light flashed, her classmates seemed to forget things. Their names, their birthdays. One girl forgot her mother. The teachers called it progress, said the lessons were working. But Mariama wrote everything down. She kept a notebook hidden in her sock. Faces, names, strange marks she found carved into the underside of desks. Spirals, eyes, symbols that shifted when she blinked. One afternoon, she followed a teacher after class, slipped behind him in the hallway, quiet as a shadow. He opened a door near the janitor's closet. It led downstairs, to the light, and before she could turn to run, a hand grabbed her shoulder gently. She turned. It was Aisha, only it wasn't. Her eyes were blank. Her voice was calm, and she said, "You shouldn't have seen that." Mariama tried to pull away, but Aisha's grip was stronger than it should have been. Unnatural, cold, like the fingers of a statue. Aisha smiled, but there was no warmth behind it. "They showed me the real lessons," she whispered. "Now it's your turn." Mariama kicked free and ran. Down the hallway, past the classrooms where teachers sat smiling at empty desks. Past the library where books had no titles. Past the music room where no one played. She burst through the front doors into the fading daylight, gasping for air. No one followed her. No alarm sounded. It was as if the school let her go. For now. When she got home, she tried to explain. Told her mother everything. The missing girls, the strange symbols, the way Aisha had changed. But her mother's face twisted in pain. "I know," she said. "We all know. Mariama froze. "You sent me there anyway?" she whispered. Her mother's hand shook as she wiped tears from her face. "There's no choice," she said. "It's part of the agreement. For peace. For prosperity." That night, Mariama packed her bag. She wasn't staying. She wasn't going to be the next one to disappear behind a door of chalk and bone. If you feel the chill of Mariama's story and want to know what really lies beneath the surface, subscribe now and hit the bell. Because what you're about to discover changes everything. And no child is ever truly safe when silence is part of the deal. Mariama didn't run far, only as far as the edge of the forest, where the village lights no longer reached and the trees whispered old names. She hid in a hollow log, knees tucked to chest, notebook clutched like a shield. She didn't sleep. The forest pulsed with quiet warnings. Crickets stopped chirping, the wind didn't blow, and at midnight she heard footsteps, not heavy, not rushed, measured, deliberate. She peeked through the cracks in the bark. It was the headmaster, alone, holding something small in his hands, a doll made of paper and braided hair, her handwriting, her drawing of the school folded into the doll's chest. He knew. He always knew. Mariama waited until he passed, then fled deeper into the woods. But the trees didn't protect her. The path curved back, always leading toward the school, even when she swore she turned the other way. It was as if the land itself was pulling her back. By morning, she found herself at the old well behind the school, the one no one used, the one sealed with stone. It was open. Inside, at the bottom, she saw uniforms, dozens, all sizes, some still wet, and scrawled in chalk across the inside wall. "The lesson begins when you stop asking questions." Mariama stepped back, but the wind whispered, "Too late." Mariama didn't scream. She had learned. Screaming only fed the silence. She ran again, past the back fence, across the field where the soil never grew grass, into the abandoned shrine no one visited anymore. Inside, she lit a match from her pocket and opened her notebook. Every name, every symbol, every whisper, all of it. She laid it out on the cold stone floor like an offering, and for the first time, the symbols rearranged themselves. They moved. They formed a shape, a key. She didn't understand how, but her hands moved on their own. She drew the key into the dirt beside the shrine, and the wall behind her shifted. A doorway opened, and behind it, a staircase, not down, upper. She climbed, breath held, legs shaking. At the top was a small room filled with old desks, older books, and a circle of girls, Aisha among them, eyes closed, humming in perfect unison. At the center stood a woman Mariama had never seen. Not a teacher, not human. Tall, thin, dressed in school uniform, but wrong. Her skin shimmered like wet paper. Her voice sounded like all the teachers at once. "You are early," she said, "but that's fine. You've learned quickly." Mariama stepped back, but the floor closed behind her. "There is no graduation," the woman whispered. "Only surrender." And the girls opened their eyes. The room pulsed with energy, not warmth, not light. Something colder, older, the kind of presence that made your teeth ache and your bones remember things they shouldn't. Mariama clutched her notebook like a shield. The woman stepped forward. "We don't punish girls," she said. "We reshape them, smooth their minds, Wipe away the noise of the world so they can hear the truth. What truth? Mariama asked, her voice barely a breath. That they were never meant to choose. Aisha reached out to her. Her eyes were blank, but her mouth trembled, as if something inside her still remembered being free. Mariama took a step back, then another. Then she did the only thing she could do. She tore out the last page of her notebook, the one with the symbols, the one the woman hadn't seen her draw. She whispered her own chant, words she didn't understand, but felt, and threw the page into the center of the room. The symbols burst into flame. The light exploded. Screams echoed, not of pain, but of confusion. And when Mariama opened her eyes, she was alone. Outside, beside the well, the school was gone. Where the building once stood, only cracked earth remained. She never went back, but she never stopped warning others. Because somewhere, in another village, another school waits, and another girl is walking through the gate, her shoes too big, her eyes too bright. Would you still send your daughter to school if it meant losing her forever? Or would you fight to find the truth beneath the lesson? If this story chilled you, don't miss the next one. This woman sells her babies right after giving birth. Because some classrooms don't need desks to rewrite your life.